Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you have been here before, you know who I am. If you haven't, hi, my name is Megan McGuire and it's so nice to meet you. Usually here I like to do true crime, spooky stories, and other stuff like that. But since it is Halloween season, I'm going to be talking about Pennhurst State Asylum. But before we get into what this video is going to be about, if you like this video or just like me, please leave a like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. I will literally do whatever video people want. I had someone request an urban legend or urban legends, so I did the Jersey Devil, but I think I need to stray away from this area, as in Pennsylvania, the tri-state area. But yeah, if you guys like me, you can follow me on social medias. I just wanted to throw that in there because I always forget. But let's get into what the video is going to be about and how it's going to be different. It is October 27th as I'm currently filming this. This will come out after the Halloween season, but spooky season is every season in my book. But this video is going to be different because I actually visited Pennhurst the other night. They don't call it anything. They do a haunted house, basically. We got there pretty early, so I got some really good footage of the buildings in general, and it was still light out and it looked really cool. It's also a 10 out of 10 haunted house. Like, it's probably the best one in PA. I highly recommend if you're from the area. But so I'm going to include those clips. I'm also going to be It's going to be a shorter video just because I wanted to get another one out. I'm going to be doing my makeup in the process because I have to go out. But it's going to be a light makeup day. So we're going to get into the history of Pennhurst first, and then I will talk about the ghost of Pennhurst. And I'm not using my mic for this video just because for editing purposes and everything, my setup, I really don't have the time right now. And I just really wanted to get this video out. So Pennhurst Asylum was originally called the Eastern Pennsylvania Institution for the Feeble-Minded and Epileptic. It was authorized for construction in 1903. It was conceived as a state-funded and operated facility to house individuals deemed feeble-minded, thus unable to function in normal society. It housed any individual who was physically or mentally disabled, with physical or psychological mute, deaf, and blind people. This included those with offensive habits and imperfect speech. So when admitted, patients were classified as either imbecile or insane, classified as mentally as healthy or epileptic, and classified as dentally having teeth either good, poor, or treated. As time went on, there was pressure on the institution to house immigrants, criminals, and orphans. But, you know, mixing all these people in one spot is never good, or it's not right, in my opinion. Why are you gonna put orphans with criminals? That just doesn't make sense to me. It became a solution for ridding society of its people who just didn't fit in, people who were abnormal, especially like mentally challenged people, you know, like there was plenty of kids in there who were on the autistic spectrum, and it's just sad because they weren't getting the correct, like, I know back then they probably didn't understand, but like they weren't getting the right treatment. In fact, the institution's campus functioned as a self-contained city with residents completing all the tasks necessary to run their small society. In 1913, legislators created a Commission for the Care of the Feeble-Minded, which declared that disabled individuals were both unfit for citizenship and a menace to the peace. So basically, they lived there, they didn't have rights, they didn't get the correct care that they needed as a human being because they were deemed as not citizens. The facility existed, and that it existed for so long. By the 1960s, Pennhurst was a home to 2,791 people, almost 900 more than the maximum capacity. In 1968, a young reporter did a short series on Pennhurst, which was the first that most people had even seen or heard of the institution. In the short documentary that the man interviewed that looked into Pennhurst, Many were appalled by the images that they saw on their TVs, including individuals chained to adult-sized cribs and children in cages. Said that there was like 500 people in a room. There was feces everywhere. They were naked. Their teeth were unhealthy. Like, they obviously weren't being treated the right way. And he was like, there was 2 caretakers to all of these 500 people who mentally and physically cannot do things on their own. So obviously that's f***ed up. It's also shown that the animals in the Philadelphia Zoo, how tax money goes, they were making more. They were making $8 for food, housing, stuff like that for the animals in the zoo. And these people in Pennhurst were making half that. They were making about $5 to each human getting mental health care, dental care. Obviously, the state cared less about these people and they cared more about the actual animals in the zoo. And it goes to show how f***ed up it's f***ed up. Like, when you sit on Pennhurst and like you walk around, like, it's not even like it's like a scary thing. It's like I was sad walking through, because like we walked through the tunnels for the haunted house, and I know that there were stories of people getting attacked in there, or, you know, SA'd in there, and it just like breaks your heart to think like people were in here and this is what they went through. And like, also, I work with mentally challenged kids and kids all over the spectrums, and it breaks my heart to see that like back then they would have been put in these places and they would have been left to rot, basically. They no care. And it's just like, it's sad. Like, it's an overwhelming sense of sadness that you feel for these people who live there. Like, it's so weird. Like, I'll include right now the video. I took a video of the playground set that they have there, which is probably the original playground set, just fixed up. But like, you can imagine like people running on these fields and kids and just like praying for someone to come rescue them and give them what they actually need, you know? Allegations of abuse surfaced in the following years. It wasn't until 1987, however, that the facility finally closed. Closure came after Pennhurst lost a large legal dispute filed by former residents who reported intense physical, emotional, and psychological abuse suffered at the hands of nurses, caregivers, and doctors themselves. The silver lining to Pennhurst is that the horrors that were suffered there led to sweeping reforms. So its dark legacy changed the way the American legal system, as well as society, treated those with special needs. They talk about patients, if they bit the first time, they would get like beaten, or they would get like, hey, we have these dental chairs, we're gonna rip your teeth out if you do it again. And like the second time, they would just rip their teeth out. Like, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. It would be like, if you bit, that's like one repercussion. And I'm curious to know about what more happened there, because obviously more had to have happened there instead of just, you know, that. But still, that's insane. Today, the asylum is shrouded with ghost tales and reports of paranormal activity. In 2010, one of the buildings was partially reopened as Pennhurst Asylum Haunted House. Visitors have claimed to hear voices, shrieks, and murmurs of pain from former residents while in the facility. The hauntings are terrifying, and for multiple reasons. Aside from the physical fear of the paranormal, the ghosts of Pennhurst serve as a collective reminder of just how cruel society was towards them. And here are some other facts about Pennhurst itself. So, no psychologists were on duty at Pennhurst at night or over the weekend. So if a patient had a mental breakdown, they would either not be treated till the next day or a few days later, which is crazy. Pennhurst, restraints were used to control measures of inadequate staffing. Restraints could either be physical or chemical. The physical restraints range from placing individuals in secluded rooms and binding the person's hands or ankles with muffs or posies, and binding the individual to a bed or a chair. The chemical restraints were tranquilizing drugs. A female resident who during the month of June 1976 was in physical restraint for 651 hours and 5 minutes. That's ridiculous. So obviously they were restrained for an excessive amount of time. Injuries to residents by other residents or forms of self-abuse were common in Pennhurst. One individual bit off 3/4 of an earlobe and a part of the outer ear of another resident while the second resident was asleep. We covered how up the institution was itself. I'm going to be including clips from television reporter Bill Baldini that exposed the institution. The piece was called "The Suffering Little Children." So I'm going to be putting some of that in, but again, that really opened up the doors for lawsuits against Pennhurst, and it officially closed because it was deemed legally it was taking away the patient's rights. So that's why it closed in 1987. Today's caretakers and property owners believe that the buildings and underground tunnels are haunted by angry spirits of the institution. To finish up my story about the Pennhurst, I'm gonna get into the ghosts of Pennhurst. And there's not a lot of stories per se, there's just a bunch of people, you know, reporting what they heard or what they saw. I think the biggest one is a story of a little girl who likes to play in the Mayflower building. So people are saying the underground tunnels are haunted by angry spirits of patients who suffered and died here. There are reports of slamming doors, footsteps, and sounds of people vomiting coming from empty rooms. Some witnesses have seen a spirit of a little girl roaming the buildings, perhaps telling her story of sorrow and neglect. You can do a ghost tour at Pennhurst. I know it is only in the Mayflower building, which is cool, but I would rather explore more if I'm going to be doing everything. But I'm not sure if the underground tunnels in full are filled with the haunted house. It is a long part of the haunted house. I think there's more to the tunnels that they show. The urban decay of the asylum sits stagnant with twisting vines and roots weaving in and out of the buildings. It almost seems as if nature is trying to reclaim these stones. When investigated by paranormal research teams, Pennhurst plays a part. Children's cryings and laughter can even be heard echoing throughout the metal. Stuff was moved around, as in the chairs and whatnot. Sounds of crashing metal can be detected, and if you've seen the Ghost Adventure episodes of this, they're pretty sure, I'm not sure how much, but they capture like a table or chair being pushed or thrown over, and it's a big ass chair, so kind of cool. There have been reports of conjuring and satanic worship on the grounds. However, raw and negative emotions filled the halls of Pennhurst years ago. Today, Pennhurst sits as a part haunted attraction, part memorial to the dead. It is hoped that we do not figure out what happened here, and it is necessary to remember the mistakes of the past to prevent it from happening in the future. He basically showed in the documentary, or showcased, that he casually admitted, Bill Baldini, who investigated his awful methods of behavior correction. He was the resident physician at Pennhurst during the production of Suffer the Little Children. Nonchalantly detailed his disturbing practice of downgrading. According to Dr. Fear, Punish was construed patients with behavior issues, placing patients with normal or marginally subnormal IQs in wards designated to the profoundly mentally challenged. I realized that I never filmed an outro or finished the video properly, actually. But so basically, just to wrap up everything that was said, Pennhurst was a piece of shit asylum, and they really abused the people who went there, and my thoughts and condolences go with all the people who lived there, died there, experienced what they experienced there, and Again, I just think that if you go there now, you can feel that anguish and the sadness like within the walls of the building. I really liked going there and roaming around. I go there every year. I love going there. I would really like to do one of the ghost tours there. They were just like $300 like for a single person. So maybe next year I will do that. But that was the end of this video. I also went to Eastern State Penitentiary recently for a project for school, and I filmed there as well, so I'll probably be doing that in the near future. If you guys like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. It means so much to me. I know this video was late. I'm so bad with actually putting things out when I want to, but hopefully that changes. So leave a like and subscribe. Tell me what you want to see next if you want to see anything special. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.